This TC21 trail camera is recording underwater in a flash flood. So don't give up on a trail camera just because it got wet and the lens got foggy. I had a Campark TC21 and Voopeak TC22. Both are made by the same company. Set up in the stream bed of a small spring-fed stream high in the Great Smoky Mountains to observe birds and mammals during the devastating flood that hit western North Carolina from Hurricane Helene in late September 2024. I live to the west of the hardest hit areas around Asheville, and we were lucky with no serious damage. But I wanted to share how these two trail cameras survived being completely submerged in a flash flood and continue to work even underwater and afterwards. This is actually the third time I've had Campark cameras survive being completely underwater during floods. My unnamed small stream is often called a branch, and by the end of summer it's at its lowest water flows of the year. Often no more than a trickle, as in these examples here just prior to the flood. Well, it's Thursday morning, October 3rd, and the big flood came through here the morning of last Friday, September 27th, so I finally got up to the house and the stream, and the house is fine. There's some big tree branches down and things like that, but no real damage of any significance to the house. We had about 12 to 14 inches of rain here, I guess. Here the stream is at 4,000 feet elevation and extremely steep, falling within a little ravine about 30 feet deep below a 5,500 foot mountaintop just half a mile away. And it acts as a drainage way for heavy rainfall and snowmelt. Floods come fast and don't last long as the water flows down into larger streams and creeks. There are thousands of these little streams that flow down into the mountain valleys and add up to a really big flood downstream around the 2,000 to 2,500 foot levels. You can see all the debris that's come down the little stream here, and one of the trail cameras that I use, this is the TC22, it was up there and it rolled down with the debris and is right here, and the other trail camera was over here anchored below it with a big rock, and what happened was this piece of debris, this like piece of a tree, came across the creek and made a little dam here. Rocks and sediment up here. You can see the second camera, the TC21, stayed in place for the most part because they had this dam up here. It didn't get washed further down the stream. Right in this area here is where the birds bath video were taken. Of course, when you put cameras in the stream bed, you have to expect you're going to lose a few now and then, and can't really complain about warranty issues as they weren't really designed to operate underwater, but they're tough and solid state. I love the TC22 and TC21, and I'll put links to them in the description. They are solar powered and have built-in rechargeable lithium batteries, so no need to ever buy batteries. And in this case, the rechargeable lithium batteries did not get wet. These mountains are the oldest mountains in the world, and you just see all the stones that roll down when Mother Nature gives us some big rain. Last time I think we had rain this big was probably back in 2004 with a couple of hurricanes. So what I'll do though is I'll remove this log here and let the stream go back on its natural course. It's kind of going on a crooked course right now, and over that way and down that way, and it'll cause some unnecessary erosion. Luck would have it, the cameras weren't hit by any large pieces of debris. And what's really amazing is, I'll show you, is these cameras are still working and they continue to work. I'm going to go ahead and finish this video and I'll log into them with the app, and you'll see they're still working even though they're in the stream bed and they were both seriously underwater. The good news is everything up here is in good shape. A stream is always going to rearrange itself, and I know the raccoons will be here turning over all the stones looking for food. So both the trail cameras have been found, and I'm going to turn on the app and see what's up with them here and their status. I've really had good luck with Campark trail cameras in the past going through hurricanes and previous floods, and they've come through and dried them out in the sun and worked again. There we see there's a live picture from the TC22. It's kind of on its side with a branch in front of it, but you can see it's still working. Here's all the pictures that it took. This is before, I think this is right before the flood. You can see it's standing upright, but there's no actual video of when it got hit by the flood. But it's still working, which means that once I get it out of here and get it in the sun and dry it out, it'll probably continue to be fine. Let's check the TC21. Okay, we're connecting to the TC21. You can see it's still working. It's been working since the flood. Of course, it's losing power, so at night the IR lights are going off. But let's see, here was this was early on the morning of Friday when the hurricane, all the heavy rain was coming. You can see the water's filling up and raccoons are out there. And what we got here is, yeah, it's underwater. On the morning of the last Friday the 27th, you can see the camera is taking video underwater. That's pretty amazing. You can see the water bubbles there. It's like a piece of debris that's caught on it that's triggering the motion detection, so it's actually taking video underwater. Alright, well, let's get it in the hot sun and dry it out. Obviously it's going to be fogged up, so we get it dried out, it'll probably be back in service. I've done that before after hurricanes and floods, so there is a camera underwater. Here the TC21 shows water rising to the level of the camera lens very early on September 27th. Then shortly afterward rising well above the trail camera, leaving it underwater. By the 28th, water levels have dropped way down, and raccoons search the stream for food every night. A few days later, thrushes can be seen taking a bath in the new small stream channel. On the TC22, the young raccoon kits are still having fun even as the water rises and the heavy rain continues. The TC22 was hit from behind by debris and then face down in the muck, so it didn't record the flood, but you can see it was still working when I arrived to recover it. Pretty impressive. Okay, I removed the TC21 and the TC22 from the stream. And I got them up here, and I'm going to take them off and open them up and then work towards getting them back into service. And here's the TC21. Note that both cameras have been modified with 25 to 37 millimeter adapters for close-up lenses. And we'll go ahead and turn it off. You can see it's wet inside, but it's not full of water. Of course, this one has had a plug in it, so it would have drained out over the last 5 or 6 days. So we'll take a look and close up on the pictures, and then we'll let it in the sun and clean it up and let it dry out. My guess is it will go back into service. And here's the TC22. Doesn't look too bad the worse for wear. On the outside, it's not that wet on the inside, really. Considering it was underwater, it's not that wet. So we'll get it out in the sun. It'll of course fog up in the sun there, unless you can see that. Still has 65% battery. Doesn't use any battery, it just has its internal lithium battery and a solar charger. So it's actually working right now. It's just that things are fogged up inside, so tomorrow, I think it's supposed to be pretty sunny, we'll dry them both out and see what happens. I'm impressed, and I've had cameras in a lot worse shape get back into service, so I'm pretty sure that we'll get this TC22 just some time in the sun and it'll be back in service. Really doesn't look too bad, considering what it went through. Both cameras were returned to service, and as examples caught this amazing footage of a Cooper's hawk. So don't give up on a trail camera just because it got wet and the lens got foggy. Put them in the hot sun with the openings for the cards and USB cable facing upward for the evaporating moisture to escape, and they'll dry out. Or perhaps carefully bake them on low heat in your oven if no sun is expected for a while. Don't quote me on this, but something around 150 degrees or less should work. Just don't leave them in the oven too long.